Hey everyone. Sorry, I was just working there. Welcome to Disrupting a $100 trillion industry. My name is Karush. Again, this is brought to you by Zayuk, Smart Property System. We create digital infrastructure to manage homeowner association reserve studies, various things. We've been speaking to various HOAs about their issues, and it's a huge deal. We also do other forms of property ownership that I can speak about, government, utilities. And so we found some pretty interested parties there as well as we dive into that industry. And that's why it's a $100 trillion industry, because you have real estate, you have utilities, you have, what is it, government. And there's just a lot of property that is available, and to maintain it is going to be difficult. It is difficult, especially at the consumer level, which I would consider HOAs to be, rather than, say, private offices or the government or anything of that nature. And I'm going to continue working later, but I'm just going to get out some blurbs here. I think people are too, it's a tough time. It's a tough time in the world. So people feel as though there's kind of a chokehold, I believe, and you can see it with the K-shaped economy, where you have people that are becoming highly stressed and then people who are richer than ever. It's interesting time, and I think, depending on who you are, the situation isn't as dire as it seems, especially if you're, um, to be frank, an American. If you're not an American, maybe it is as dire as it seems, but there's still a lot of opportunity. You see that the average age of hiring was like roughly 42. And so there's a lot of opportunity for people older and for people younger. Because if you're younger, you have that. That's a hugely valuable asset, your youth. Take advantage of your youth. Every moment of it is a rich, it's rich. It's extremely rich. It's extremely valuable. You're going to undervalue it because you're in your youth, but don't, take advantage of it. Your brain works as well as it will ever, and you're as energetic as ever. So take advantage of your youth and use it to your power, because you have more time than most people. So don't rush. Don't rush if you're young, but at the same time, if you're older, there's opportunities there. Again, the average age of hiring, I believe, increased to 42. The average age of a homeowner, first time buyers, like roughly around 40 as well. So there's still opportunities and places to go for older people. But if you are younger, do not self destruct. Give yourself the tools to just not take it so harshly, especially on yourself. It's a difficult time. You're trained a certain way, and maybe that training wasn't so optimal and not so much in your benefit. But you're youthful. You have the opportunity to readjust. It won't be easy. It'll be extremely difficult, and it's there though. It's there. I think it's there. And there's a lot of stress in the world right now. There's a lot of stress in the world right now. And it's important to just try and, separate yourself from it, because it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Truthfully. what a time to be alive. All right, let me get into some things I wanted to say. Spite. Controlling your spite is one thing. You may grow up and be really angry, really spiteful, not like something that's going on. And a lot of people's reaction to that is to just implode. Don't do that. Don't do that. Again, harder than it would seem, but for some reason, and I'm guilty of this at times too, you see hurting yourself, and you see this with young, particularly men, leaving, kind of separating themselves from the status quo, whether that be a job or going to school. But at the same time, the person who's going to suffer the most, yes, society suffers, that's for sure. Your family suffers, your friends suffer, but no one will suffer more than that individual. So it's important when you have these emotions, anger, spite, to call them out. First of all, when you call them out and say, I'm angry, I'm spiteful, it just it naturals the intensity. And then from there, control it. You have energy inside of you. And if you've ever been angry or spiteful, you know that there's an energy that's accumulated from that emotion. And people call cortisol spikes. So, outputting that effectively, maintaining your energy so it doesn't cause you to stress out and cause you to, harm yourself. One thing also, this has nothing to do with emotions or that, but in the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen this onslaught of like someone releases something and then there's a huge reaction and boom, 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 boom. It's just like, and it's too much and it's not even effective. I think, I use pretty much the same AI tools I've always used. And granted, I don't know if people still are using OpenClaw. I haven't heard much about it. It's the same thing with DeepSeek. And you know, yeah, you just don't need to be the first. You can be, if it's a parabola of like adoption, you can be in the second phase and still get a lot of the benefits that the first phase gets, the initial adopters. And I feel like the cost is there because the opportunity cost of going for every single new tool or thing out is high. It's actually not that low. It's high. It's operationally intense to always be taking on a new tool. So that's why I like to be on the second phase of things, because if it's on the second phase, it's going to be one. It's stood the test of the first phase because there's a lot of items, and that's why I referred back to DeepSeek. That first phase goes, and then boom, it crashes. And so I'm usually on the second phase, and sometimes even a little bit later. But I think that's not necessarily as you're not getting those opportunity savings that I'm speaking about as much as if you go on the second phase when you're hearing about it. A lot of people don't adopt it. And for example, right now, if I was hearing a lot about OpenClaw still, if I was still hearing, seeing it online, seeing people posting about it, I would consider um, adopting it. And if I see it, if I continue to see it, I'll consider adopting it. But if I don't, and I see things like I saw with DeepSeek where the user count went up and then it shot back down, that's a sign that that's not a really usable product. It's important. It's important. I'll talk about entrepreneurship too. I think people are interested in that. Entrepreneurship isn't a game. Starting up isn't a game. It's not like school at all. It's not like anything that, especially school, I would say, but a lot of things in life, even I would say being an employee doesn't really prepare you for entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. It is a grind. It is not romantic. Many people fail horribly and ruin themselves and take massive risks that don't pan out for them and other people. And it's just not as romantic as people would like it to seem. It really isn't. And in the United States, we're given a hugely valuable opportunity. Other places in the world too, but really, this country is pretty unique in the market size, in the freedom of starting up. Also, I think there's so many opportunities for people. It's not easy because there's more opportunities if you work with your hands. If you work with your hands, there's endless amounts of opportunities. And Zayuk, I mean, this is the reason that Zayuk has such a, you know, whether it's real estate, utilities, government, the physical part in combination with the digital part is where we excel. And so if you were just doing software, it's probably harder than ever. But if you work with your hands, I mean, I'm a cert inspect, I go out and inspect, fly the drone, used to be a systems engineer with hands-on experience. I actually love going into the field. And that love for going into the field has really come back 10 years later, even as I have stayed as a software engineer through most of that to give me the ability to go back into the field and do that in a reality capture sense. So, my point is to everything I just mentioned about my experience, entrepreneurship is tough. It's tough. And I think it really depends on the type of entrepreneurship that you're doing. For example, I have a friend, highly educated friend, and he is looking for a desk job. And I told them, I think you'd be better off if you were an electrician. I think you'd be better off if you started an electrical company. And that can bring you, one, that's entrepreneurship. Two, you're going to be working with your hands. Three, you're going to be your own boss. Four, I think, for that individual, working in that environment is going to be more rewarding than working in an office for a large corporation or whatever it may be. Not to say there's anything wrong with working for other people. It's perfectly fine and it's good. It's good to work for other people. I think one of the issues, and this isn't to dissuade people from youth entrepreneurship. If you can do it, go for it. If you're 19, 18 years old, 20 years old, and you have the confidence in yourself and your capability to go start a company, go do it. I did not. At 22, 23, 24, 25, up until like 29, I did not. At 29, I was like, all right, I'm pretty sure I could do it. And now I'm 32. But if you're 19, 20, 21 years old and you think you can do it, very likely you can. But if you don't think you can do it, there's nothing wrong with working for other people where you can make a lot of good money and live a good life. And if you want to do something on the side, you can do that, but you can live a like high quality life. And I think it's highly undervalued in the United States, particularly the employment route, just being employed. I think people need to be more conscious about their spending, but at the end of the day, employment in America is a good route. It's tough sometimes, Monday 9 to 5. Sometimes you pack in all your fun over the weekend, or you feel a little uh, su- su- suffocating the whole um, man, oh man, what is it called? Employment thing, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And that's personally why I like working from home, because working from home is a lot more about your value add as much as your um, attendance add. And for some people, that makes a hugely positive difference. For other people, hugely negative. They say 95% of life is showing up. So it is what it is. All right, all right, all right. And I'm going to have to do a lot more. I'm going to try and get a lot more into posting things online. I know I said that, and I have gotten a lot better, to be fair to myself, in the last 3 months. A lot more posting. I was kind of taking some time off, but really posting on social media is it. It's it. It is the most valuable thing anyone can do. It is more valuable. This is tough to say. It is so hugely important. Written content, video content, different forms of both, highly edited versions of both, highly targeted, sophisticated forms of posting, highly unsophisticated forms of posting as well. We're finding that the candid era is here. We've been in the candid era for a few years now, and it's going to continue. And you can see live streaming is doing that. Live streaming is turning the candid era in and on of itself. The candid era is real. People had the photoshopped, edited era, and that still has a huge place. It still has a huge place. Curated videos, especially. I think the people don't care about how much money you have, especially if you have to flaunt it. And I think people are starting to realize that now more than ever. Whereas a few years ago, if you flaunted some wealth, maybe it was a little easier to convince people you had a lot of money and they should follow your advice. I think people are a little bit more understanding that those people might just be flaunting wealth that's not their wealth. And flaunting wealth usually comes at a cost. That's the issue. That's the thing that I always think about. When you flaunt wealth, it comes at a cost. You're paying something to flaunt that wealth. And a lot of rich people don't pay to flaunt wealth. They just don't do it because they understand that after a while, that that in and of itself is going to cost them dearly. This is amazing. I just saw, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk about it right now. Wow. I'm just going to say this. Karma is real, people. You dish something out, the chance of it boomeranging back on you is massive. Massive. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. But it will just skim you as it flies by, that boomerang. I personally, there are troubles in this world, and those troubles will come and find you, which is why you need to fortify yourself. There's no, in my opinion, there is no hoping it works out, hoping that everyone will treat you with respect and will treat you with decency. That won't happen, almost surely. You need to be in a position where you can defend yourself against disrespect and indecency. You cannot rely on other people to do it. Either you have to find allies who will be willing to defend you, or you have to fortify yourself. Probably also find some allies to help fortify you, and you help fortify them, and you guys get stronger together. But going out and looking for trouble, even if you are well fortified, is a way to just be more likely to find it. And so maybe it's not in your best interest to be looking for trouble, in all honesty. Maybe it's, you know, best for you to be a little bit more humble and continue to fortify yourself. Continue to be willing to say, all right, there are troubles in this world. I need to make sure I'm well defended, because maybe being a victim is popular, but it comes at a cost. And that, as I mentioned before, that cost is almost always mostly on that individual who is the victim. Sure, their community is also, and this was in the aspect of being self defeating. Sure, their community suffers, but at the end of the day, no one suffers more than that individual themselves. No one. And so it's just not in your interest to be a victim. If you are, and there are people that are victims, not just victims, but insurmountably victims, they have no ability to get themselves out of their situation. And those people should be helped. It's not easy, but those people should be helped. Oh, I'll do something too. One thing that I would love to see, I'm a Californian. One thing I would love to see above all other things is for California, the four major California cities, and possibly even a fifth being, I mean, this is, probably Riverside, unfortunately. LA, San Diego, San Jose, San Francisco, and Fresno. That's going to be it. I didn't realize how large Fresno is. Let's see the largest cities. LA, San Diego. These are massive cities, though. San Diego is a massive city. So is LA. San Jose, San Francisco, Fresno, Sacramento. Sacramento's six. I didn't even realize that. Long Beach, which is it's a suburb of LA. Oakland, a suburb of San Francisco, same as San Jose. Bakersfield, okay. Anaheim. So between these, you have like Greater Los Angeles, you have the Bay Area, which has its own transportation system. You have Sacramento. You have San Diego, which has a pretty weak transportation system. But I mean, it's tough with these cities because of the zoning laws. I mean, that would probably be the number one big issue because with Europe, at least, you don't have these intense zoning laws that create such a stark difference in commercial and residential real estate, where it's like nearly impossible to even have the integration across or the sort of um, infrastructure to stand that. Whereas, it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time. That won't be easy to fix the infrastructure problems. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop off. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great week ahead of you, and talk to y'all soon.